Diddy all smiles in court before prosecutors hinted new charges in sex trafficking case. Combs' trial is set to start on May 5 as he remains in jail at MDC Brooklyn. By Lauren Overholtz, Tracy Wright, Maria Peronic, Fox News. Published October 10, 2024, 3:40 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Combs made a court appearance on Thursday, where it was determined the disgraced music mogul will stand trial next spring. Judge Arun Subramanian scheduled Diddy's trial to begin on May 5. The prosecution expects the government's case to take 3 weeks to lay out, while Diddy's legal team estimated needing 1 week to argue the rapper's defense. The U.S. Attorney's Office also noted the investigation is ongoing and pointed to the possibility of a superseding indictment, which could lengthen the trial. Statute of limitations and defective indictments, superseding indictments. If an indictment is dismissed because of legal defect or grand jury irregularity, the government may return a new indictment within 6 months of the date of dismissal or within the original limitation period, whichever is later. Combs' family attended his status conference at a Manhattan courthouse, where Diddy's defense and the prosecution discussed issues regarding the evidence discovery process and potential trial dates. Diddy's mother, Janice Combs, arrived roughly an hour before her son's scheduled court appearance in a black Cadillac SUV. She was escorted into the courthouse by a woman and a security guard. Diddy's children, twins Jesse and Delila, daughter Chance and sons Christian, Justin, and Quincy, were also present. Last night, singer arrived at court wearing a long-sleeved tan prison shirt and pants. He was not handcuffed, but Diddy's feet were shackled. The musician glanced around the room before sharing a brief laugh and smiles with his attorney while waiting for the judge. After the hearing, Diddy turned around and faced his family. He waved, blew kisses and bowed in praise. His daughters blew him kisses back. Judge Subramanian thanked Diddy's family for attending the status conference. The family then remained in the courtroom as the press were escorted out. Diddy's legal team is expected to receive the discovery material within the next 30 days, according to the prosecution. The government seized a total of 96 devices from Combs during raids of his homes, 9 at the airport, 36 in Miami and 51 in Los Angeles. Authorities also seized Combs' phone during his September 16 arrest and conducted a search of his hotel room in Manhattan. The U.S. Attorney's Office expects the device downloads to be completed by next week, but noted discovery will continue through December. Combs remains held without bail at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. He is no longer requesting to move unless there is an issue with reviewing discovery. Ahead of Thursday's status conference, Diddy requested to go to trial in April or May in a letter submitted to Subramanian, who is expected to preside over the case moving forward. Prosecutors said they are available during those 2 months, but did not specify a preference for trial. In a joint letter submitted ahead of Thursday's hearing, the prosecution revealed the process of turning over evidence to Diddy's legal team had begun. The U.S. Attorney's Office had turned over search warrants and the musician's phone along with iCloud reports. The prosecution is also in the process of copying information off of 40 additional electronic devices seized during the March raids on Diddy's homes. Diddy's team filed for his third attempt at bail on Tuesday after Judge Andrew L. Carter Jr. recused himself from the case. Why did the judge recuse himself? Recusal is the legal process by which a judge, juror, or other adjudicator steps aside from participating in a case due to potential bias, conflict of interest, or appearance of impropriety. Carter Jr. recused himself from the case. Carter Jr. had denied the "I'll be missing you" singer's second attempt at bail, citing the possibility that Diddy would tamper with witnesses. The judge conceded the prosecution had proven, by clear and convincing evidence, that there is no condition or set of conditions to secure community safety. Indeed, hardly a risk of flight. He is a 54-year-old father of 7, a U.S. citizen, an extraordinarily successful artist, businessman, and philanthropist, and one of the most recognizable people on earth, his lawyers argued in his latest filing. Combs also requested an evidentiary hearing in an October 9 filing. Lawyers for Diddy claimed the disgraced bad boy billionaire was deprived of the right to a fair trial through a series of unlawful government leaks. Diddy accused Department of Homeland Security agents of providing false and prejudicial statements to various press outlets over the last 7 months following the raids on his homes in Miami and Los Angeles, where his sons were handcuffed and manhandled by federal agents armed with assault rifles. Last night, Singer then accused officials of leaking the 2016 surveillance video from the Intercontinental Hotel to CNN, which allegedly showed Combs assaulting his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. The government denied being the source of the leak in a separate filing. Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson explained to Diddy's lawyer that the government was not in possession of the video before CNN published in May. The government was not in possession of the video before its publication by CNN. Indeed, at the time of CNN's publication, the government did not possess any video of the March 2016 incident, she wrote in emails shared with the court. To be clear, to our understanding, DHS did not have possession of the videotape prior to CNN's publication of it, Johnson wrote in a follow-up email. Only the government has authority to obtain grand jury material, and the video broadcast by CNN was not obtained through the grand jury process.
We have appealed the initial bail decision to the Second Circuit, and we're going to keep trying to get him out in every way that's available. I only know what's happened, and that hasn't happened.
What's your argument to exclude the video from the hotel room from the evidence?
So I'm most respectful. Not going to get into that. We put that in our court papers that we filed yesterday, and I'm not going to elaborate on it.
That was P. Diddy's lawyer updating the reporters as to what went on in the courtroom yesterday, October the 10th. Next is Fox News giving us a brief rundown.
For years, P. Diddy's gotten a hall pass. He's actually created his own kingdom where he makes his own rules, and you got to follow his rules or you get penalized. And guess what, Laura? He's now in a federal penitentiary, and for the first time in his life, he's facing his own fate at the hands of somebody else. And I will tell you, Laura, I've done federal cases, that's not the place you want to be in federal court. 90% of federal criminal indictments brought down are pled out, right? A plea deal is brought. And of the only 10% left, 90% of those defendants that go to trial, they lose. So he is looking at a daunting uphill battle to fight these horrible charges.
Now, Brian, one of the DHS agents involved in this raid on his Miami mansion described what he saw inside the house, saying that, in my opinion, he's as bad as Epstein. These women are young, either barely legal or barely illegal. Brian, this sounds like he was a monster.
Yeah, Laura, I will tell you that this indictment was very detailed, by the way, too. Your viewers should know there were over 300 subpoenas served, over 50 witnesses interviewed. Why is that important? Because the federal prosecutors aren't going to be leveling an indictment like this unless they have ammunition and they have cause to bring it. And the core issue at this case, which the feds have to prove, which it's looking like they can, is that P. Diddy essentially controlled these women, that he threatened them with stopping the money that he was paying them, that he spiked their drinks with drugs, that's been alleged in the indictment, and that he basically told them, I'm going to ruin your life unless you engage in these freak-offs. And that's really what the prosecutors got to prove. And if you've got some victims coming forward to talk and walk into a courtroom and talk about it, if he doesn't testify in this case, he is dead on arrival.
Well, who else is on these tapes? I mean, will the tapes ever see the light of day? I mean, that's what everybody's talking about. Who else is there? It's like with the Epstein, his pleasure island. Who else? Who went? Who was there? What's the manifest? But Brian, chances 1 being least likely, 10 being most likely. Will we learn of other celebrities that were at these freak-offs?
Yeah, I think you've got an 8 or a 9 for a likelihood you're going to hear about it. Why? Because there are going to be more indictments coming down, Laura. That's an important point here, because he's being charged with racketeering and conspiracy. You're going to have, well, let's start on the inner circle. You're going to have former bodyguards. You can possibly have former musicians that he was with. You've got personal assistants that are going to be, they're already talking about this. Some of those are likely to be charged. And then guess what? If you've got some music moguls that are sending women over to these alleged freak-offs, then you've got some top people that are going to start crumbling too, because they're all part of what's called this criminal enterprise.
All right, Brian, always great to see you. Thank you so much.
And that was Fox News giving us a brief rundown of what P. Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs, is facing.
As you leave the page, don't forget to hit the like bell and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.